Welcome to episode 7 of this 8-part series on holistic well-being for teens. In this episode, we continue with the big bucket under relational well-being, and this is about having healthy relationships with the systems around us. And today I'm going to be talking about the culture, the system of culture around us. So, what is cultural well-being? Cultural well-being, for me, it's about awareness and understanding of our cultural makeup. It's also about awareness that different people have different cultural makeups. And it's about acceptance and tolerance of others' cultural makeup. And this acceptance and tolerance happens through building healthy social relationships and mutual respect. Why is cultural well-being important for our teens? Well, culture has a huge impact on our teens' life. And let's understand the impact of culture. Here's how it happens. Our cultural background has a big impact on every area of life because it shapes our beliefs, our values, our perceptions, and attitudes about life. Culture is how we are taught to cope with problems and with difficult situations. It's how we talk about them, who we talk about them to, and how we seek support, how we resolve conflicts. And culture also shapes how we relax, how we have fun. I feel that culture defines a lot of things that we do. And if someone doesn't have enough awareness around their own culture, they would not be mindful about their attitudes, about their beliefs, and their choices and actions. And this in turn can actually cause them to drift away from the vision that they really want, and it can leave them frustrated. So, cultural well being means we have enough awareness around our culture and the culture of others. And see how cultural well being can ultimately help your teens, because the more cultural awareness they have, the more mindful, the more intentional they can be around their beliefs and choices. Now, here's another reason why cultural well-being is important. It actually allows us to acknowledge the impact and the intersection of the diverse aspects between ourselves and others. We live in a diverse world. Everybody is different. And when we acknowledge this difference, when we acknowledge this impact of the diversity around us, then it is more likely for this diversity to be respected. And respect allows us to create healthy relationships with those who are different from us. It sort of allows us to step above the stereotyping, the prejudice, the discrimination, and all that sort of stuff. It helps us build healthy relationships with different people. So imagine living in a community of mutual respect where even if the dominant culture is different from minorities, or if there are, so many different cultural backgrounds, there's still tolerance to the different cultural heritages for everyone. And this is what we want our teens to learn, our young people to learn, so that they can bring that tolerance with them into adulthood and build a better community in the future. And a third reason why cultural well-being is important is that it strengthens our teens' sense of identity, sense of belonging, connectedness with their community. celebrating traditions or values or cultural values, they can become opportunities to bond with other people. And having a healthy cultural identity, if we know how to healthily express it and develop it, it gives more vitality to the community that we live in. Think of people participating in, recreational and creative activities, and think of people having freedom to retain and express their cultural history, their art, their language, their traditions. All this creates a richer experience for the world we live in. And as I said before, the earlier that we can teach our kids about this, the more that these values get embodied in them so that they can take it with them when they grow up. Where to start? I'm going to give you some tips. Tip number 1, cultivate awareness within you as a parent around your own culture. Just become aware how your culture impacts your values and your vision for your life and for your teens. And choose what you want to keep and what you want to let go of. You don't have to choose like your culture. You can mix and match from different cultures. The point here is awareness, and you have to be mindful of what you're choosing and intentional so that you don't project things which maybe you don't want. So awareness is really important. Tip number 2, share with your teens. Share with them the cultural things that are important to you. Let them hear you talk about it. Let them hear your point of view. Don't just rely on maybe extended family or maybe on social media, or don't just assume that your teen just knows your cultural values or your cultural history that is important to you. Talk about it and embrace with them the cultural traditions that you want to keep. Again, let go of those that you don't want to keep, but embrace traditions that you do want, and get your teens involved in a fun, detached way. It's not about forcing them. It's about inviting them. It's about opening up their perspectives and just getting them exposed to these things that are important to you. Again, it's very important that you do it in a fun, detached way. It can backfire if you try to force it. Which brings me to tip number 3. What's really important for you to focus on is genuine connection with your teens. And maybe I repeat this a lot, but connection is key. Having that strong, genuine connection with your teen is key. You need to be open to their point of view. You need to listen to them. You need to give them space to talk about what they're feeling and to talk about sensitive topics, to allow them to express their opinions. And you have to accept that they might not be on the same page with you, but you can still talk together. You can still maintain that connection between you. And this connection always leads to deeper bonding between the two of you, a deeper understanding of their needs and how their needs are being met at the moment. And when they start talking to you, you learn more about it. And that's how it ties in back to cultural well-being. You will understand their point of view, where they're coming from, how their cultural how their culture is impacting their life at the moment. And that connection between the two of you will help you stay involved in their life. It will help you stay um, uh, it will help you just remain part of their life. And again, here it's very important for you to be able to hold space for them, not to overreact, not to force your opinions on them, but just to hold space on them. And the last tip is to focus on their social well-being. Just like we discussed in our previous episode, um, social well-being is also ties into cultural well-being because it's about building healthy relationships with other people. So, as a wrap up, when it comes to your teens' cultural well-being, I invite you to cultivate cultural awareness for yourself and in your home. Have these open conversations with your teens, talk with them, and focus on connection. And as usual, it's time for you to pause here and reflect on your top takeaway from this episode and ask yourself, what small, simple step can you start doing today to improve your teen's cultural well-being? Thank you for listening. I'm Nadine, the Teen Soul Coach. I'll see you next time.